Survivor's ready. Go!
Travis spoken.
Boston Rob and Amber are gonna do it.
This is a business trip, as I like to say.
You, Brad Culpepper.
I'm tired of you and the fucking chicken.
You can call me the puppet master. They can be my little puppets.
It's not like you're making a deal with the devil here.
You get to milk your own milk, I guess.
Who the hell voted for me?
Chicken.
We got enough rocks here, too. We could build a pretty decent shelter just using rocks.
I'm supposed to talk glamour to you. You understand that better?
Direct from Hobart, it's time for the only Survivor podcast in Australia dedicated to Survivor, bringing you all the latest interviews, episodes, and opinions from the greatest reality show on the planet. It's Survivor Oz, and here's your host, Ben Waterworth.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to Survivor Oz, Australia's #1 TV and film podcast, Australia's only Survivor podcast, and Australia's only Survivor podcast that broadcasts live, half an hour remaining still of the episodes that are on TV right now. That's right, if you are watching this right now, you are either American, have illegally downloaded Survivor earlier on during the day, or have no idea what the fuck you're watching and are just watching it for the sake of watching it. So hello to you. Hello, Keith's moustache, I can see, is watching. And Visitor is also watching alongside Patrick Gustafsson. I don't know who that is, but maybe he's on the line. Hello, Pat. Welcome back to Survivor Oz.
Oh, yeah, I'm here. Thanks for having me back. A lot to talk about. Looking forward to it.
You sound so excited.
No, I am. I really enjoyed last night's episode, or for you right now, episode.
Well, I would say I actually just finished watching it about half an hour ago, so, I'm just making it half an hour and, yeah, whatever. Speaking of half an hour and whatever, this man is half an hour and whatever. It's Noah Groves. Hello, Noah.
Thanks for having me. I'm feeling pretty positive tonight about these episodes. Didn't love them, but I thought they were pretty enjoyable. The first one was weaker in my eyes, but it was still enjoyable. 2 hours, probably the best of the 2 hour blocks out of San Juan del Sur, Worlds Apart, and this one. But not loving this season as much as a lot of people, but I still thought that was a jam-packed episode with some fun moments in it. So excited to get into it. But very positive tonight.
Well, I was going to say, you want to make sure that you're being positive, Noah. Not negative, positive. Yes.
Can't comprehend that word.
Well, thank you for also taking over the last couple of weeks whilst I was away. I received complaints that you were being too negative.
Did you find your cats?
No, well, I saw them, and they sang about memories, so you can fill in the gaps. Speaking of gaps...
so you came back with no cats.
I was going to say something really funny there, but you ruined the moment there, Noah. I was going to say, speaking of gaps...
Oh, sorry, speaking of gaps...
This person fills one in from the female perspective... because she is a female. It is Kate McLaughlin. Kate, welcome back to Survivor Oz.
Glad to fill your quota.
Well, we've got to tap into our, both our listeners. I believe one of them met a female once, so I think it's important that we cover, all sides of the spectrum.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say you're not talking about me.
For once, Pat, I'm not talking about you. God, it's not always about you. How are you, Kate? It's early for you as well. Both our Americans on the line sound very awake at the moment. But what's the time right now in the land of the free, the home of the brave?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock? It's Thanksgiving too, isn't it? Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, are you just not into Thanksgiving?
What did you give?
Is that excited you can't sleep, or you're cooking the turkey?
Oh, I don't cook. I bake occasionally, but I just got back from Vegas, so I haven't done anything.
Hence why you sound incredibly hungover or something?
Probably.
Well, it's good to have you back, and it's good to be back live. Hello, everybody watching, listening, wherever you are. It's really funny, actually, because when I went to add you into this call, Kate, I type in Kate in this little Skype window, and it pops up with people on my friends list called Kate, and I've got somebody here on my friends list, Kate.Pienza, Pienza, and I thought it said penis, and I was like, who the hell's that? But I just gave away somebody's Skype address, so everyone add Kate
I think
Pienza.
that's Jen Brown. Jen Brown's favourite Survivor player, is it? Kate Pienza.
Kate, is that a friend of yours? Is that the Kate from Survivor?
My best friend.
Your best friend.
Yep, obviously.
Thought so. All right. Okay, well, we've got
From
a
Vegas.
bit to cover this episode. We're all pumped and excited and positive. Kate, I'll start with you. What did you think of these little 2 episodes of Survivor Cambodia this week?
I really enjoyed it. It was really, really good. I didn't want Steven to go home, but it was kind of funny, so I guess it worked out. But yeah, it was definitely not what I expected, so I liked it.
Cool. And you didn't care about Sierra, though, I guess? Or
No, she had it coming.
Yep. All right. Well, I think this man might feel a bit different about Sierra going. Noah?
Yeah, I was disappointed by that, but it was so damn obvious that I knew in the first scene of the episode. I was tweeting the entire episode, Sierra's gone home. She received so much more airtime than she has before, so I was prepared for it when it happened. It's getting to that point towards the end where we're going to be disappointed with anyone going home because we've only got 3 episodes left, so I don't think you can be too disappointed, but I was sad to see them go. And Steven will get into, but I think he had a pretty good run, even though he did go home a bit early.
Pat?
Yeah, I really enjoyed both of the episodes as a whole. I was starting to get a bit worried, especially after last week, that the season was starting to take a turn for the worst, but a lot of good things going on tonight. And on the contrary, I was very pleased to see Steven go. I've been waiting for that for a while.
Beautiful. Excuse me, I'm just having a sneezing attack. If people are wondering what's going on. This is hilarious.
I think they were wondering that when you brought up Kate Pienza, not when you're sneezing.
Sorry, I didn't exactly hear everything you said there, Pat, but I'm sure it was very insightful and great.
Probably wasn't, but
welcome back to hosting the show.
How did Noah go hosting this show for 2 weeks? I only listened to one of them. I don't know how last week went. I heard you had a crazy call in last week, though, Noah. What happened there?
Zachary
Catherine
Shaw
called in. She was very angry with Wigglesworth getting voted out.
Oh, don't bring that up.
She got over it.
Oh, no, I haven't gotten over it. Don't bring it back up. I guess we'll go through some things here. Well, obviously, the main talking points, I think, will come down to voting blocks and things like that. But we'll tick a few things off and cover it through a bit. It rained a lot, particularly in the first episode. Did anybody realise that at all? It was quite wet. No? All right, cool. All right.
Yeah.
I must have been the only one who watched it then.
That kind of not ruined the episode, but I'm glad it cleared up in the second half because it was literally watching people in a hut for 40 minutes.
Is that something you like to do, Kate, on a weekend? Watch people in huts for 40 minutes?
I like to do it every other Thursday, but I'll do it today. It's cool.
On Thanksgiving.
What do you think she was in Vegas for, Ben?
Watching people in huts for 40 minutes. I mean, it's interesting that we see this. I mean, I guess we often complain we don't get to see like old school elements, and this was a real old school element, the complaining about the conditions. But I guess, though, as you said, we're literally watching people in a hut. I mean, I think we get the gist of it that they're wet for a little bit, don't we?
Oh, well, they literally couldn't do anything, so they didn't have anything to show. It wasn't a huge deal, but I'm glad it didn't keep up.
Well, it's kind of... I'm going to be jumping all over the shop with sort of questions here with this, but I mean, I guess it's appropriate to bring this into the conversation now, even though we're sort of fast-forwarding through to a bit of the challenge. Do we like the idea, then, that they basically are sitting around feeling sorry for them, that they are going to make them give up a chance to go for immunity to give them a shelter? I mean, if this was in the Australian outback... we don't see this, do we, Pat? I mean, surely they're just getting a bit soft now when they're getting a bit hard conditions like this.
Well, that was a bad season to pick.
I was asking Pat, but anyway, Noah, you can talk if you want to.
Yeah, I was just saying the example was bad because that literally did happen in the Australian outback when Jeff gave them a task.
Yeah, but that was basically when they went through all their food and everything with only a few days to go. This was like, just on the halfway point, and it was a bit wet. I mean, the people who were on Samoa are watching this going, what the fuck, man? Where was our offer of doing this?
Monica.
Yes. Sorry, Pat. Yes, Pat, please talk. We're off to a great start this episode.
No, I definitely agree with you. It's ridiculous. You know, we saw it too in San Juan del Sur, just about how, you know, Jeff is kind of starting to give in, and I really don't like it at all. I mean, like you said, Samoa, even Nicaragua, it just dumped rain and nothing. They got nothing.
I'm calling this out right now. We've got Purple Kelly on the show this week, and I want her to get very, very angry at this because, you know, we've had Purple Kelly on this show enough to realise how much it affected her, that it helped leading to her quit. So where was her offer to do this? Where was her white rock? Jeff Probst? Noah?
I didn't mind it. It never bothered me in San Juan del Sur or anything because it just plays a non-factor in the game. Like, we all know it's, quote, not as hard as it used to be, so it doesn't bother me. But I think the producers saw what happened in this 3 days, and what would we rather watch? People sitting in a shelter for 40 minutes in Vegas, or would we want people up and playing the game? And I'd probably prefer people up and being lively and playing the game. So without the shelter, it probably would have been more just people sitting around. So I'm fine with it.
But on that point, you were very critical of the fact that when they went to 3 tribes, one of them didn't get anything, though. So, you know, giving things to people, not giving things to people, yeah.
Yeah, but that's a completely different thing, though. That's not even any the same at all.
Well, it's still affecting the way they're living for a certain...
Yeah, but it's affecting 6 people out of the 18, while this, there's no advantage or disadvantage between the 10 of them, so it's completely different.
Okay, Kate, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. It like evenly affects everyone, so I feel that makes it fair. And I just really don't want to sit and watch people die. It's not what I watched Survivor for.
I guess kind of, again, chopping and changing, going over there. Challenges. I wanted to bring these up, I think, at the start, because it was the way they had the challenges, these 2 episodes. We had, obviously, 2 rewards, 2 immunities, nothing unusual there. But I want to start with the reward challenges, because even though in the first episode we had the generic let's split teams into 5, that we never actually get to see how they picked them, I still enjoyed the challenge because it was the running around the water, shooting a hoop. That's a, you know, interesting one. And then let's point out the reward challenge in the second episode with the storytelling and the nighttime challenge. Like, this is what we want. This is what we were talking about the other week. They've got so many challenges from old school Survivor that they can use again. This is one of the best challenges that they could have done. Sadly, Kelly Wigglesworth wasn't there to do it. But Kate, the reward challenges in particular, how excited were you to see these ones, particularly the storytelling one?
Yeah, I was excited about it. I mean, wasn't it last week's Oztopsy or the 1 week before that you were talking about Rudy and how he was like, I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know. And then they did it, and I was surprised.
Once again, they listened to us, Kate. This is
I called it. I called that.
We influence Survivor. Yeah. People don't realise these things.
Obviously, there was a lot of time travel involved, and it all worked out.
You get Mark Burnett on for a half an hour interview and you ask about green buffs.
Well, hang on, look.
Well, look what happened, people.
Well, exactly. Look, I'm going to hold this up. Look at this. Look at this, folks, who are watching this live. That is a green buff from Cagayan. Let's see. That's not the one I wanted to bring out. There is one from Cambodia too, which I can't find. Here it is. Green buff from Cambodia. Look at that, folks. You're welcome, Survivor fans. Green buffs. And you're welcome, Classic Challenger. Sorry, Kate, if I interrupted you there and what you were trying to say.
No, you're fine.
Nothing else to add, or are you
good.
Done?
Yeah, I think I'm good. Yeah.
Oh goodness me! I think I need to go away more often. No, I host good episodes. Pat, the reward challenges in particular, good to see something different.
The reward challenges were awesome. Even the first one, I know they split into teams, but that's an awesome challenge in general. And the way it played out was really physical. It was really competitive. It was great. And then the storytelling challenge, I was stunned when I saw that. I never thought they would do anything like that. And especially with Keith, I thought Keith was about to pull a Rudy. That was great. All they needed was 2,000 video cameras, and that would have been the greatest challenge ever.
And throwback Jeff Probst doing the Blair Witch Project, going through there. I just should apologise quickly for people who are watching this live who keep seeing me wipe my nose on my sleeve. I realised I didn't bring a hanky to this episode, and Yeah, I don't
You
think...
didn't bring one and you're in your house.
like, in another room. I have to leave. That is probably a good thing based on how this episode's going. So, please forgive me, people watching this who think I'm being disgusting and just wiping myself. Anyway, Noah, the challenges. I'm going to do it right now. Talk and watch me be gross.
Yeah, well, Paddy G brought up the old cameras. We're thankful that Sprint is no longer a sponsor. Otherwise, we would have had them recording on the Sprint phones. Yeah, the first one was awesome. Bring back challenges from other seasons. I believe it was raining during that one as well in Togachines, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
I'm not sure. All I remember is Candace Smith. Is that her name? Someone like that.
Who?
For some reason, I have a memory of her in that challenge. I don't know.
You have a memory of Candace Smith? I think just full stop. That's a shock in itself.
I just remember it being a really memorable and physical challenge and her, like, getting into it and then going home. The nighttime one, I didn't even put two and two together. I'm like, yes, nighttime, yes! Am I seeing this right? And then he's got Survivor Folklore. I just completely lost it. It's just amazing. I never thought we'd see this season ever, this challenge ever again, and it was brilliant, but I couldn't help but be disappointed and negative because this is Wigglesworth's second chance, and it just... this could have been her second chance, and that was really frustrating that we didn't get that. Because that would have made up for Jeff saying, Wigglesworth, you once did a paddling thing, so this is your second chance, which was just ridiculous. Wasn't even the same challenge. So that was amazing. If I was going to have a little criticism, I think they should have done it with maybe like 6 people or 7 people left. It did seem a bit overcrowded, and you couldn't really see what was actually going on in the challenge, so... In the olden days, they did it with less people, so I think that would have worked. And I'm sure we'll talk about the idol stuff, but overall, I was so excited to have that back, and I hope that leads to more ones. I think we need to have member going into a house and picking up knives and stuff from season 1. Bring that back. There's just some season 1 challenges, Spider Challenge. Like bring back season 1 and season 2 and season 7 and season 12 challenges. Because there's a lot there, and he is hoping for holding on to the immunity idol is the final challenge, because that would just be amazing. But the only thing we were missing is Jeff Probst on his camcorder doing Jeff Probst acting. Like, we're here, it's daytime, and in a few hours they're going to be out here. This is Survivor Witch Project. No, they need a flashback to that. But I was in love with this. I hope they keep that up with the rest of the season, bring back old school challenges.
Another thing they could have done is they could have had him just like on his phone and just had a little like a little screen in the bottom left corner, like Jeff Probst's selfie cam. Like, oh, what was it, Joe? Really sucking at this challenge, and he's like, "Thanks, Jeff." Just something down the bottom there. I was.
They need to bring. There you go.
I was going to say, I was thinking what you were thinking about having too many people, but you please say what you want them to bring back.
I was just going to make a dumb joke that I think I made last week about bringing back the Find a Word challenge from Pearl Island and then bring back the girl we found on Facebook who made it back to announce it.
I want them to bring back Tangram, all right? Tangram. That's all I will ever say. Yeah, I guess we can... we'll come back to the idol, because I guess we have to... Actually, no, one thing I mentioned from that challenge, Stephen, once again, just narrowly beating Spencer for the second time this season. Not that it really amounts too much. Come back to the idol, the immunity challenges, putting it out there. The feet one wasn't too bad. I didn't mind that one in Someone Else, so good to see that back. But once again, what do we have? Standing still for ages, holding up a thing. Yeah, whatever, I'm over it. They don't even need to show it. Yep, Joe wins, we get it. But, of course, we've got to talk about the rocks. We already talked about the reward part of it, but I didn't mind this. I kind of liked the way they were doing it. As soon as they give them the rock, I guess you're obviously thinking, oh, yeah, this is going to be for food or whatever, that sort of stuff. And interesting there that Jeff Probst was offering them to bring out the Rolling Stones. Did anyone pick that up? We'll get to the Stones later. That was a bad joke, man. But then, obviously, we have everybody offering up for the shelter except for Keith and Joe. If everybody had have shown the White Rock, Does that just mean there was no immunity?
Guess not. That would have been amazing.
Yeah, I was just thinking that when I was watching that. Your thoughts on that, Noah? Did you like that little twist, and any other thing to add on the immunity challenges?
I liked it because it's a twist on the food one that you mentioned. Is this time you're playing and you don't get anything in the challenge until you get back. So it's not so much a selfish move like the food stuff is. Poor Keith. He was the only one who, like, we all knew Joe wouldn't, but poor Keith. And then what a comeback that would have been from Keith. And isn't this the amazing challenge from Sam Wandel Sir with the sugar and Wes and his nuggets? And is that the same one?
No, it's the one where they're standing on the perch.
Yeah.
Why am I even talking about Sam Wandel Sir challenges? Because they were all the same thing besides the foot one.
Just like this season.
Yeah. Yeah. The foot one is kind of cool. Like, why not? May as well bring it back.
I would suck at that challenge.
So
I'd suck
I
at
was
both
kind
of
of
those challenges, actually.
Yeah, I don't think I could do a foot challenge. I was kind of surprised that so many people did go over the shoulder, but that's just a testament to how bad the conditions really are. And of course, Joe would have never went with it, so I just wish Keith could have pulled that win through. But other than that, not thrilling immunity challenges, but I did like the twist.
And obviously, Spencer knocking Joe off his perch, pretty much literally, broke this streak. I was sort of, when we went into this challenge, I was expecting Jeff to be like, and Joe could win this one and join an elite club, which of course he eventually says halfway through anyway. So he didn't mention the names though. He said only 5 people had ever done this before or become.
He should have at least mentioned Dietz, who was on this frickin' season.
Exactly, and his man Mike only did it the previous season, and Colby. God, what every chance he's got to mention Colby. Like, Jeff, what's going on? Kate, anything to add on the challenges and obviously the twist with the rocks?
Yeah, I liked it, but I hated how some of these people were like, it was $1 million mistake, blah, blah, it could be. And I'm like, you never had a shot of winning that. Like, let's be honest here. Like, only a couple of those people had a shot of beating Joe. Mm-hmm. Like, they acted like it was this big thing they gave up, but come on, be serious.
Could you imagine if Rodney was on this season? Like, he would have been, like, his arms would have been stretched up above his head so high that he would, like, I was thinking that, like, that challenge is helped if you're tall. Like, if you're a shrimp, that challenge, you suck at that challenge. So
it's probably measured to different people.
Possibly. Pat, anything to add?
That might be why Keith was so far away from Joe.
Good point. Pat?
I mean, in terms of the challenges themselves, they're all the same. They're pretty terrible, but you can't expect much. And then the rocks, I agree with Noah that I was very surprised that many people did it, especially some people who were like so game savvy and everything revolves around the game, like Jeremy, Steve, and Spencer. I was, really surprised when they opted to forgo the challenge. So that was pretty good, the twist and with the rocks, but challenges, hope is gone. For the immunity challenges. I
would be surprised to hear actually sort of post game, or if maybe Stephen or that mentioned it in their exit interviews or not. Like, did any of them sort of glance and like nod or something like that? Like, obviously they would have been told probably don't talk about it, but I'm sure there would have been surely some glancing nods or something like that to do it. they are right next to each other, so I guess they can't stop them from like, you nodded at him, take that nod back. You're not allowed to nod at him. Like. I don't know. Maybe something.
Why was Survivor Folklore not the immunity challenge? Because that is such a more fair game challenge that anyone could, even Abby could have won that one.
Yeah,
and every other challenge is completely suited for Joe. It's ridiculous.
And for a reward, which it's a cool reward. It's a beautiful resort, and again you get this nice. And this is why I always argue for solo reward challenges, because you then get this great tension at the end where you've got to choose someone, and obviously you expect Steven straight away to choose Jeremy.
And it worked out.
Yeah. Exactly. So, this is just, it baffles me.
Bring back individual rewards, because it's the one time you do it this season, it worked perfectly and Fishback went home.
Exactly. But, they don't listen to us in the important things, apparently. It's only green buffs and bringing back challenges.
Get Mark Burnett back on.
Yes. Now, going back to Noah, you mentioned, obviously, the Idol. We randomly, it wasn't even really teased, unless it was teased, I didn't see it. Kelly gets the clue, Wentworth, for the Idol, which obviously leads her into... I enjoyed the whole having to...
It was teased, man.
Well, again, I mustn't have seen it, so... and I only ever watch Next Time on Survivor at the end of the episode. I never watch any of the other ones they put out throughout the week, so there you go. But
oh, you mean teased in the preview?
Yeah. What did you think I meant?
I thought you meant that she randomly just found it and they didn't tell us there was going to be an Idol.
No,
I was
I'm
thinking
not
there's a huge unfoldy graphic-y thingy on the screen.
We did kind of have random in-challenge confessional when it was daytime. So, yes, I'm not that dumb.
In-challenge confessional.
Pat, what do we think of this whole item? I mean, we discussed this several weeks ago about how they were going to do this with idol clues and idols and challenges in the individual portion of the game. But did you like the way they did this, kind of randomly in one of these little parcel Duvalaki things?
Yeah, I thought it was perfect. I think it was really the only way they could have done it. You know, instead of having someone find a clue and then basically handing them the idol, put it up to chance. Especially in a challenge where everyone is going to have to be at that point at some point in the challenge. I thought it was great. I mean, they could have possibly done that, you know, previously instead of, even in the pre-merge, instead of having an individual person find a clue.
Kate?
Yeah, I liked the clue in there. I thought it was neat. And I like how she had to find it. It was much better than Jeremy's, so
yeah,
I'm into it.
We didn't just have random shrine in the middle of the night, and then her digging underneath the thing, and then Abby just not going away. I loved her facial expressions; it was hilarious, and she kept just like going like turning and looking at her. I thought it was great. Noah, what did you think of it?
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I'm surprised they haven't done that before, and they're really trying to change up the way idols work this season, and their hide them at challenges has kind of failed, so they're still trying to do stuff there. So that was cool. I guess it was random. I'm glad it wasn't just like Jeremy who got it, because that would have just been a joke. But all I could think was, El Cole had to dig a frickin' hole in the middle of the ground at camp. Like, they're supposed to be making it hard. All she had to do was get under there once. Like, she could have said, "Oh, I dropped my glasses under there," or something like that. That scene in Fiji where he has to work with Yarman to get everyone away is much better. Like, they should have done that. And it almost forces you to have to work with someone, which brings a more interesting dynamic. Because imagine telling Abby Marie you had an idol, that could blow up your game.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of thinking that when you said, like, oh, I dropped my glasses or something like that. Like, we saw that kind of when she got the first idol, that she sort of stuffed it up and then went back and got it and obviously made a bit of a meal out of it, but still got it. But the whole time I'm thinking, like, you know, yeah, everyone has to leave and that. Like, all you have to do is say, oh, shit, where has anyone seen my... Oh, I think it might be under here, and just quickly kick it behind you. Go, oh, look, oh, there it is, and crawl under the shelter and grab it. Oh, here's my shoe, or, you know, something like that. Like, that's all you have to do.
Yeah, because no one would expect you to be getting an idol from right under your camp. No one.
I don't know about that. I feel like there's a lot of people who are so, in terms of the game, paranoid and thinking, you know, whenever somebody leaves a camp for whatever reason, you know, there could be an idol. So, like Steven or Spencer, I disagree with that. I definitely think that people could have been suspicious, the people that are on this season. Maybe not the ones that were there. Go ahead, you go ahead.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely true. They could have been a bit suspicious, but compared to having to dig a frickin' hole in the middle of your camp, like, Earl had to...
I agree with you completely. I agree with you completely. I just feel like it was her best bet to do it when no one else was around. I feel like if somebody else was around, it wouldn't have been that easy.
It definitely the safest bet, and she did the right thing. But I guess all I was saying is it would have been possible. But one thing that, here's me being negative again. One thing that kind of annoyed me is, yeah, hello, whoever you were, was that last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was last week, Jeremy, who already had an idol, got an idol. This week, Kelly, who already had an idol, got an idol. It's kind of just like, that puts me off a bit. I would have loved it if, I don't know, Tasha or Abby got an idol. Like, I'm getting a bit sick of the same people. Yeah, Key, stick to the plan.
It's a very Salman Del Sur heavy idol season, isn't it? Like, every idol has gone to Salman Del Sur people, 2 of them at least. So,
and they're all still in it at the final.
Well, I was just actually looking at that. We have 8 people left, and we only have 1 person left in this game who wasn't on season 25 or above, which is Kimmy. So,
Kimmy.
And you take out Abby Marie from the equation, and everybody is either from 28, 29, or 30. So, yeah.
Oh my god.
It's interesting that way. Whereas Heroes vs Villains, it was kind of the opposite, wasn't it? Like, we had a lot of the newer players at that period of the game go out, and a lot of kind of the older school players stayed a lot longer. So, yeah, poor old school.
It's kind of weird the old schoolers have been ticked off.
Yeah, and we've got Kimmy left. We're still on target for our Australian Outback
I am on
top
the
4.
Kimmy train.
Oh, aren't we all? Are we all on the Kimmy
That would
train?
be
Is there one
amazing.
person on this episode who doesn't like Kimmy?
Go
You can hang
Kimmy.
up right now. Piss off, Kate.
I'm fine with Kimmy this season. I
Good.
mean, I'm not obsessed with her or anything, but I think she's done well. And
Well, she
hasn't
has.
annoyed me too much, so that's good.
It's fascinating with Kimmy because she was kind of one that we all had varying opinions on, and it was kind of hard to read. And we had one great episode where she kind of had the control, and she's always there and thereabouts, I feel. I mean, Noah, how far can Kimmy
she
go?
understands. Oh, I think she could go all the way, but she wouldn't win. But I was convinced that the final 3 was going to be Jeremy, Stephen, and Kimmy. Obviously, that's not going to happen. So, unlike other players like Varna and Wigglesworth, I don't think anyone's targeting Kimmy. But we did say that about Wigglesworth, so who knows what's going to happen. But yeah, I wrote in my power rankings, she's not a brilliant player, but she's so underrated because she's playing a phenomenal social game. We thought she was going to annoy every single person there. On top of that, she's actually not too bad in the challenges. Like, she was pretty physical in that basketball one. And then she also understands strategy, which I don't think anyone was expecting.
Yeah.
Like, she knows the strategy game, but I think purely based on her edit and that people just underestimate her, she can't win. But despite that, I still think she's a hugely underrated character, and her confessionals are so entertaining, yet we're not seeing any of her. It's ridiculous.
I agree with that, and I keep putting in my power rankings that Keith and Kimmy, I think, are going very deep because who's targeting them? Like, everyone's going after Joe. Everyone's, going to be going after Jeremy soon, no doubt. Then you've got the likes of...
Are they going after Joe?
Well, I don't know. Like, surely it's got to happen eventually. Then you've got Tasha, obviously, is there, and Kelly's sort of been targeted before. Abby's annoying the fuck out of people, and Spencer's there. So, I mean, really, you've kind of got these people there that I feel are going to be targeted before Kimmy and Keith's name even comes up. So I can, maybe not necessarily both of them make top 5, but I could see it. I could easily see one of them make the final 3, maybe even both, and somebody takes them both.
They're my 2 favourites.
Yeah, I would say...
They're my 2 favourites, so bring it on.
Kimmy and I'm still on the Wentworth and Jeremy bandwagons, but and Abby for monetary purposes. But and I still love Keith. Goodness me, what am I saying? Pat, Kimmy, anything to add?
No, I just agree. I think out of everyone on the island, she's probably, in one way or another, she's probably the least threatening out of everyone in terms of either strategic value or in challenges, or Abby being a loose cannon. Kimmy's really not a huge threat in any of those. I mean, she is decent in challenges. She has adapted to the strategy well, but compared to everyone else, she is probably the last person you'd think that anyone would target. So I definitely think she can make it to the final 3. And she's in tight with Jeremy and Tasha. She voted with them both times. I definitely think Kimmy's got a chance to make it to the final 3, maybe even win, depending on the circumstance.
Good evening, Catherine has just joined us. And Catherine, if you just see me wiping my nose very rudely and disgustingly on my jacket, I've decided to have the sneezing and hay fever attack whilst I'm coming in without a hanky, so please forgive me for being very rude. Kate, Kimmy, you sort of talked about her, but do you have anything else to add about Kimmy?
No, I mean, I do wish we were seeing more of her just because I think it's made it very apparent that there's no way she'll win. She could totally make it to the end, but she won't win. And her confessionals have been good, so it's unfortunate.
Just saw Keith's moustache nail in our group put a Kimmy Keith final 2 love heart. How would that be for a final 2?
Oh.
Best season ever.
Don't drop it.
Don't drop it. Don't drop
Well, you joked, but a Kimmy Kuppenberg win, people would laugh their asses off. But there's no better second chance story than that, surely.
Yeah, well, it would have been if Kelly Wigglesworth had won.
Oh, yeah.
But, I completely agree with that. Yeah, that would just be gold. Solid gold. I just seriously want her to finish top 4. I want this record alive still, and we're nearly there. We're at the top 8 now. She's made top 8. You've just got to survive 4 more votes, Kimmy. And then you keep this statistic alive. I'm a suckler for statistics.
I think she can do it.
Well, we were worried when Varna went. I was like, oh, no, that's not going to get kept alive now. But touch wood, Kimmy can keep this final 4 thing alive. So let's do it. We should talk about some votes. I think we had 2 of them. Let's go for the first episode first. Sierra went home. We obviously had a little situation, though, at the Tribal Council where Jeremy ultimately played one of his idols on Stephen, which saved Stephen. I did get a little bit worried that Kimmy was about to go because we got those 2 quick fire votes. I realised we heard that discussion that they were going to put those votes on Kimmy, but kind of got a bit worried it was a Jeremy situation there where the viewer was going to get blindsided. But Sierra, the vote. Jeremy playing the idol. Kate, your take on all of this?
I don't know that, well, I'm pretty sure it wasn't a good move for Jeremy, even if the outcome hadn't happened. I don't know. I think he was better off to sit on the idols. But it was great TV, so I was totally happy about it. But overall, I don't know that it was a great decision.
It's interesting because he came back to camp and there didn't really seem to be... I mean, there was discussions and, Tasha's, what was it like? Oh, no, it was they're talking about the one before about, you can fool me once, but that you only get one chance or something like that. But, yeah, there was nothing like... I think, Noah, you said, are people targeting Jeremy? Well, maybe that's a very good point because it's not like then we got people this episode, we really need to go after Jeremy. He pulled a sneaky one. Like, he's kept one idol. I mean, obviously no one's suspecting that he's got another. Or are they? I don't know. But, yeah, it was very interesting. Noah, your take on everything that happened there?
Yeah, I think a lot of people probably predicted that when they did the double up episode, it would be a Witches Coven member getting voted out, just purely based on the factor of that's going to be predictable. And yeah, it was weird because it was predictable when they could have made it not predictable. Like, as I said, you go on my timeline, I was saying all episode, Sierra's gone because she received so much airtime. Why didn't they set it up as, like, Stephen's going or something? Because, yeah, it was an epic moment when Jeremy pulled out the idol, but then it went to an ad, and I'm like, well, bye-bye, Sierra. Like, that could have been even more epic if they really set it up as Stephen going home. And maybe didn't show Sierra as much, but I guess it was good to have Sierra have a bit of a goodbye episode and some more airtime. So it was pretty good Tribal Council, I have to admit. But at the same time, and of course this is hindsight because we know what happened in the next Tribal Council, but kind of a waste for Jeremy because he could have had 2 idols. It was very much a short-term effect that had. But I can see why he did it because Stephen was his most loyal alliance member, even though apparently there aren't alliances, but there are. So I can see what he was doing, protecting the one person he could trust the most. But at the same time, making it to Final 9 with 2 idols, I think you're probably safe anyway to let go of one of your most loyal members. So I can see what he did, but in hindsight, it obviously was a wasted move. But I don't blame him for that, I guess.
I wonder if James Clement watches Survivor still and he gets nightmares at this point. Like, he was final 7 and he didn't use them. Yeah, and I wrote down Sierra or Fishback, I was sure, and I think the one that I wrote down in that first episode was when Fishback had that quote and he said something like, "Oh, I'm in such a good position. Oh, they're famous last words. You never say them in Survivor." Well, I guess he went the next episode anyway, so sort of precursor to that. But
well,
yeah.
do you think they knew that these two would be the double episode? Because it almost felt like a one extended Stephen downfall in a way. Like, do you think they edited it that way, or it was just a coincidence?
I reckon they edited that way. I mean, I think generally every season now we have a double episode, don't we? So they've probably worked out when it's going to be and done it, particularly with, I mean, obviously I didn't watch it with ads, but obviously up here they went to an ad when Jeremy was like, "Hold up, Jeff," and then they seemed to go to an ad quickly. And yeah, so, and they don't generally go to ads. I guess kind of in a way that was like the cliffhanger, was it not, at the end of the episode before they went into the start of the tribal, if you know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah.
It was actually still at like 5-2 or something, but then I think they continued straight on, didn't they?
Well, if that was gold,
just quickly on the Kimmy thing. On the Kimmy thing, quickly, I knew Sierra. I thought Sierra was going home, but I see what you're saying, because Kimmy did get a bit of airtime this week, and it was like, "Yeah, I've got a kid who has kidney disease," or whatever it was. So they were showing a bit more of Kimmy. So it did cross my mind for a minute. Oh crap! What if that is the Kimmy vote? But yeah, I'm glad it was.
And particularly because we heard the line that, "Oh yeah, we'll put 2 votes for Kimmy," which was random, and then the fact that they held them off right to the end so that the last vote reveal is who goes home. So it was either Kimmy or Sierra, and yeah, I loved Kimmy's reactions, by the way. As you know, I do love a good person shitting themselves in tribal council. Poor Kimmy. Pat, anything to add on all of that?
Not all that much. I mean, the fact that they went to a commercial was really pointless. What else was, to build up the suspense, what else would Jeremy have done with his idol? Play it for himself? Like, that was so obvious that he was playing it for Steven. That really didn't warrant a cliffhanger commercial. And I was terrified. I thought Kimmy was gone because, I mean, realistically, say Abby had voted for Kimmy with Sierra and Kelly, it would have been, it still would have been a tie, but that would have been so scary. I was mortified about that. But overall, I mean, like you said, Ben, Jeremy, it could have been a really terrible move because everyone could have been like, "Oh shit, Jeremy, look at him, he's got idols, he's wheeling, dealing, playing them for other people." We didn't get any of that. Nobody even mentioned the fact that, wow, look what Jeremy's doing, maybe we should consider targeting him. So for that matter, and the fact that he has another idol, great move. He's really playing, he's great. Jeremy's been great.
Has anyone, like, besides when he was called out, I can't remember who it was who called him out in that tribal, Sierra, I think it was. Well, has anyone ever mentioned his name as a threat at all this season on screen? I don't think so.
I think they do keep saying, "Oh, if Joe's gone, you're going to win all these," kind of thing.
Yeah.
They said Jeremy will be the winner, didn't they? If you don't get rid of him.
Well, it's fascinating how they did it, because I noticed in Wigglesworth's boot last week that, like, everybody kept saying how, like, she's great with everybody, she's going to win this game, everyone loves it and all this and stuff, which we never saw. So, like, it's kind of like the opposite with Jeremy. We're all seeing how great he is, but to us, it's like no one's mentioning it. So it's weird how they're doing it. Like, I mean, if he wins at the end of this season, we're all like, "Oh, that was obvious that Jeremy was going to win. He's such a winner's edit." Fair enough. But, I mean, he is playing a great game, but it's still, we always seem to still get throwaway lines.
I guess maybe one reason they didn't do it is because Jeremy didn't go home and it was so tight on the edit that they had to tell the Steven story. But that's what I was saying, that move of Jeremy to use the idol fails on a few levels because it does put a target on his back. He was so big in the early game about meat shields, I want to hide behind people. he just put a big slam, massive target on himself. And yeah, they didn't talk about it in the next one, but the numbers are dwindling. There's no more meat shields left. Once Joe's gone, Jeremy will be a huge target. And Spencer is not on his side, which I'm sure we'll get to.
Well, we can sort of move into... Actually, no, before we move into that, we've got to eulogise Sierra. She went home. She did, yep. I'll start with you, Noah. You love Sierra. Your take on second time Sierra?
Yeah, I was disappointed to see her go. This is one of the players that I do think will probably get a third chance just because she fits the character of the younger, good-looking, feisty kind of strategist role. So I do think we will probably see her again. I think she had a good run. I would have liked to have seen her go further, but her and Wentworth and Abby and Cass fell in the minority, and she did a good job trying to stay. She was a bit aggressive, but what more can you do, really, to try and keep yourself around? And it worked for a few tribal councils, so she's not the most brilliant player, but I also don't think you should call her a bad player. She's got some stuff going on, so wish we saw a bit more of her in the pre-merge, but overall I'm pretty satisfied with Sierra's run and think we'll probably see her again, and good addition to the cast, I thought.
Kate?
Yeah, I like Sierra a lot, but I think she overplayed it. She was just so vocal, and I think it was just making her a target out of those three. I feel like had she not been that vocal, they probably would have gone for Wentworth again, just because she had played that idol and it made her more of a target.
Pat?
Yeah, I definitely agree. She was really aggressive, and we did see glimpses of that in Blood versus Water, but, her giant spiels at Tribal Council about play to win. People are playing to win this season, probably more than any other season. So I definitely think that doing stuff like that and going out and throwing people's names out definitely just made her a bigger target, but I do think that she definitely was a great person in the cast, and who would have thought that she would have been this, strong returning player at the start of Blood versus Water. So, I don't know if we're going to see her again. I don't think it's a shoo-in, but I wouldn't be surprised if we did. But if we didn't, I think she's got a pretty solid reputation.
Now, before we get into talking about the second vote, because there's a bit to cover there, because I think I'm trying to work out how that all played out. Couple of things I want to just point out, some good moments from the episode. Keith's confessional. People ask me, is surviving fun? No, it's not fun. Going on a cruise is fun. Golf is fun. Cowering at the thing. And, of course...
this is why I voted this guy in.
In reference to Noah's name right now on Skype, which is Keith's stolen shirt. Isn't that Joe's shirt? No, Howard Joe. This guy is gold. Like, how are we not seeing more of him? Like, come on. Oh, goodness. I loved the moment there. Like, it's not too often I can say Joe had a funny moment, but I love it when Abby was like, how about if you let me win the challenge? And Joe's like, no. Just love the way he
I think that's the only expression we've heard out of Joe this entire season.
Yes. I also loved a couple of Abby moments when she's like, they're talking about voting to get Steven out, and she's like, poopy pants, and they're like, what? Like, poopy pants.
That was hilarious.
I loved it.
Who?
And I loved it. Was it when Joe was talking about like playing on the challenge or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, I would have given it up," and they cut to Abby, and she's like, "Bull fucking shit!" Like the way they fuzzy the mouth out. That was hilarious.
And she was right as well.
Yeah, well, exactly. Okay, I guess we should get to the vote. The second episode, it was like everything was happening. Like, oh, we're going to vote for Joe, and we're going to vote for Steven, and then Abby's having I loved it when, was it Steven went up to her, and she's like, yes, thank you for telling me, and he's like, I feel like you're not being genuine with me right now. I love Abby. Abby's so, oh my god, she's just gold. She would be the most annoying person in the world to play Survivor with, but she's just hilarious. And then
I'm just glad she's back after like 4-week hiatus.
Yes. then we go to tribal, and then everything's happening. And I, for one, I thought that Kelly was going to play her idol on Joe. But anyway, Stephen plays his advantage, which, again, this is, 2 seasons in a row now we've had this advantage. And both times the person who has the advantage plays it, they promptly get voted out. So are they going to start bringing this up like a curse now?
It's called
like
a disadvantage.
Yeah, well, is it going to be like the car curse? Like, you've got the advantage, but it's actually a disadvantage. Don't play it. But yeah, surprisingly, Steve went home. I for sure thought Joe, this was like the most easiest one. I mean, I put Joe dead last in my rankings because I said he loses immunity. He's gone home. And that was kind of the perception we got, really, for the most part of this episode. But are we underestimating Joe's game? I don't know. Is he more, worthy to these people than... Well, I'm not necessarily saying Joe in terms of what he's playing, but in terms of where he's positioned in this game. I'll start with you, Pat. This whole vote thing, I'm trying to compute how the hell this happened, because there were votes, use Keith's line, idols everywhere. There were votes everywhere. I'm comprehending it.
I actually had to go back and watch it again from the immunity challenge on, because heading into tribal council, I just had no idea what had just happened. I was really surprised how easy Spencer was to flop, not necessarily flop, because the voting block strategy to switch to the other voting block. And Keith, when I saw that Keith voted for Steven, I was just like, what the fuck, Keith? But, and I think they just threw in Abby's whole shenanigans just to kind of make it look like, just to kind of add another layer into the, who's going home? Guess we don't know. I mean, I definitely liked Abby much better than I did in the early weeks when she was just being downright nasty and rude to people, but I'm still not a big fan. But the vote, I was shocked. The first time I saw it, I was shocked, but going into it the second time, it made a lot more sense to me.
So just going through this, if people at home maybe didn't see the votes or haven't looked at it on Wikipedia or anything like that, so Abby, Keith, and Kelly and Spencer voted for Stephen. Stephen, Tasha, and Kimmy voted for Abby, and Stephen's other vote went to Joe. Jeremy voted Joe, and they're the 2 votes for Joe. So the 3 votes for Abby, they were the other point. So hang on, are they on the Joe side or the Steven side? I'm still confused here.
They split the votes between Joe and Abby?
Yeah,
that's right.
So they're basically on the outs of the vote, the people who voted for Abby.
Yes.
Okay, right.
Which is just... They split the votes when they don't have numbers, which blows my mind.
Well, they thought they did.
Well, this is the thing. If they didn't split the vote, Joe would be going home, wouldn't he?
Yeah, that's what Steven said in his last words.
Especially with the double vote.
So, okay, so who do we blame for this? Is this Steven's... This was Steven's plan, wasn't it, to split the vote, right?
Yes.
So Steven essentially got himself voted out.
More or less.
They feared that
Jeremy was the one
Joe
that
would
said
have
that he
an
might have an
idol.
idol.
So Jeremy, okay. Well, sorry, Noah.
Well, I don't think you could just put one blame onto someone. Like, this was a lot of stuff going on. I don't think it's one person to blame, but the idol thing's weird because, yeah, there was the scene of Joe looking for idols, but Jeremy had the Bion idol and Kelly had the Takeo idol, and then Jeremy had the Merge Tribe idol, and no one had the Angkor idol. So, yeah, technically there was another idol because Kelly Wentworth got one, but I don't think it would be unrealistic to assume that there wasn't going to be another idol because there's just idols everywhere, as Keith said. So the moment that Joe got an idol would have been a pretty slim moment. So I think in this case it would have been a fair risk to just pile all the votes on Joe.
So Kate, you were saying there that you also can put a bit of impetus on Jeremy, so to speak, on this move as well, of Stephen going home. I mean, I guess equally to blame, or?
I don't know about blame. I think this whole season, it's like every time they split a vote, it screwed them, and every time they haven't split a vote, it screwed them. They always do the wrong thing. So
it's just, the more you think about it, the fact that, yeah, like, and also with Stephen, like, the dual vote, like, because I was working at the sums. I'm like thinking, hang on a minute, if he had have done 2 for Joe, would that mean it wouldn't have mattered? Like he still would have gone home. But so I mean, based on the Stephen vote, then, so was that Spencer's move then mainly to get rid of Stephen, or was that more Joe?
Yes, Spencer
It was Kelly Wentworth.
No, it was anyone but Joe. Joe is a pawn. He did not have anything to do with this. They used him to vote out Stephen Fishback. So we can rule that out, in my opinion. But I'm seeing in the chat here, why did Spencer split? It made no sense. Or why did Spencer flop? I think it made perfect sense. They built the narrative around Wolf's Fishback, took Tasha and Jeremy played the idol for Fishback, and it was building up that it was clear that Spencer was a fifth wheel. So I think, again, which we keep putting it on one person, I think you could say this is Spencer and Kelly Wentworth, because Spencer was clearly on the bottom and he felt that, and we saw that. So he switched over and got someone out who wasn't going to take him to the end. So I think it made perfect sense, and it didn't surprise me, even though Blow didn't get voted out in this tribal council, but maybe we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, well, I want to talk about that separately, but I guess if this is Spencer's move, is this the first time in the history of Survivor that Spencer's actually made a move that's stuck? And he hasn't just been, used as an extra, person.
Lucky.
Yes, wow, Spencer, it's finally happened. So, I mean, judged on this vote, we've got 8 left. And the one thing I will say about this season, which is enjoyable, is that, I mean, this is Noah and I kind of talking about this off air, where in regards to, I mean, this to me right now isn't a top 10 season, but it's not a terrible season either. It's a very middle season right now in my eyes. But one thing this season has really got going for it is that each week, and I think was it Spencer who said, at the end of every vote we come back to Cam and it's starting again, and it really is like that. We've got alliances. But then all of a sudden things have completely changed week to week. I mean, I put in my power rankings last week, I thought that the Spencer, Stephen, Jeremy move to get rid of Kelly was it was pointless, not just because I was very much upset that Kelly went home, but I just thought it was a stupid move. I thought it had nothing to do with anything. And then I was like,
in hindsight, it was.
Yeah, well, exactly. So, now we've got this situation, if you read it, so the 4 people who voted for Stephen, so Abby, Keith, Kelly and Spencer, are they right now the 4 main ones? But then you've got to look at it on the flip side. Well, then you've got the other 4 that are still left in the game in Tasha, Jeremy, Joe. No, he's on that side. Oh God, I'm confusing myself right now. Kimmy,
Jeremy, Kimmy, Tasha.
Yeah, so there's certainly 5. So okay, on that point. Are Jeremy, Tasha, and Kimmy on the outs completely now, or is this going to get changed on its head again next week? I guess I'll start with you, Noah, on that one.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about on the outs because the Witches Cup and have been on the outs since forever, and they're still on this year, so anything can change. But at the same time, you're completely right that it is a new game, but also Kelly Wentworth is completely right. Alliances do exist, and they're pretending they don't. But the Jeremy Fishback Tasha Key Alliance has stuck. Yeah, occasionally they pick someone new and do something like that, but there is still alliances. People like Keith are just no alliance floating every week all over the place. But alliances are there and they're still going to stick. But I did like Tasha's confession of, well, I gave you one free pass to not have me in on the vote. If it happens again, you're out. That plays a part in the season later on, but that's a long-winded answer of saying no. I don't think they're on the outs at this point, just because this season has been fairly unpredictable in terms of the boot of who's going each week.
Well, we saw Tasha and Spencer seemingly working a bit together this time, but I'm guessing that's not going to happen now that, as you said, Spencer's gone and voted Steve and she's gone the other way, so...
Yeah, I think he's well and truly gone. I could see, Keith maybe flipping back, but I think Spencer's made his mark now.
Pat, I don't really know where the question is now. Discuss based on what Noah was talking about.
If I don't think Jeremy and Kimmy and Tasha are necessarily on the outs, but at the moment they are on the bottom. I mean, that's kind of obvious, but again, it's so unpredictable. I can't see. Obviously, I feel like Kelly and Abby are on the other side, and Joe, so that would leave Spencer in the middle and Keith, but who the hell knows what Keith's doing. So I do think right now they are on the bottom, but I don't see that staying as a constant. Like, I don't see the three of them going home in the next 3 weeks. I don't see any of them going home in the next 3 weeks, personally.
Kate, anything to add?
I don't really know what the question is.
Yeah, me neither. Just, I think it was
Who's on the out?
Tasha, Jeremy, Kimmy, are they on the outs? And will they stay that way?
Why do you keep calling her Tasha? You're killing me.
What's in my accent? Tasha.
Yeah, I don't know who's gonna go home. It's a clusterfuck, and I love it, so I'm down with that. Who knows what'll happen next week?
Well, quick fire
I'll probably
question.
vote out Jeff Probst.
Quick fire question. Was not voting Joe out a mistake?
Probably.
Probably. Okay, Noah.
Yeah, probably. But can we just say, imagine if Abby Maria went over Joe? That would have been the dumbest thing ever. But yeah, it probably was a mistake. He's probably going to be winning for a fair bit now.
Pat?
I think it's a huge mistake. He's not on their side. And he's going to win, definitely going to win more challenges.
I think he's going to get that magical number 5, join the club. I'm going to call. I think he'll get 6. I think he'll break it. Just putting it out there. Probably not the hardest.
I don't know if he'll be around for long enough.
Well, it's probably not the hardest prediction I've ever made in my life, but anyway, eulogizing Stephen. Stephen goes home. I'm seeing a lot of disappointed comments in the chat. Look, I have honestly not seen any social media reaction to it. I'm assuming it would be quite sad. I'll have to go through how it all is there. I haven't seen Steve. I'm sure Steven's posted something about it today too. I haven't seen that. It's going to be fascinating to hear Rob Sestonino do an exit interview with Stephen Fishback. How's that going to turn out? Pat, eulogizing dear old Mr. getting his fish back. And can I just add, when I was watching this episode, Louise was in the other room, and when they were doing the voting and they were going, Fishback does not count. She's like going, what the hell's his name? Fish what? Are they saying Fishback? What sort of name's that? Anyway, sorry, Pat. Dear old.
What is this, a merry-go-round?
Overall, I mean, in terms of both of his seasons, Tocantins, Steven played a great game, but he had absolutely no shot to win against JT. Nobody, Jesus Christ himself did not have a chance to beat JT in that season. And in terms of this season, I really didn't care for Steven at all this season. I thought he was really paranoid, not Dawn Meehan level paranoid, but I think he was the next step there. He just worrying about everyone looking for idols and then having these giant crybaby moments about how he needs to get rid of Joe and then having to shit himself frequently in the middle of the night. But
Mr. Poopy Pants.
But I mean, you know, I definitely think he's good because he's not the typical, as somebody in the chat said that he was the anti-alpha male, and I think that's the perfect way to put it. You know, he is really different and he is really smart, but, you know, he was really arrogant, especially last night in his voting confessional where he's all like, with Joe's vote, I'm voting out Joe. And then he goes home. You look like an ass. I mean, I still think he's a really good player. He goes from being probably one of the best one-time players to never to have won to just an overall good player.
Okay. There was something I was going to say there, but I can't remember. Must be that important. Noah, please continue.
Yeah, I don't think it's hurt his legacy as a character. I think it has as a player. I think people say he's like a top 20 Survivor player of all time, and I still maintain that he could have lost against so many people on the jury of Survivor machines, while JT would have beat every single one of them. I've always found him to be slightly overrated as a player, and this season, if we're being real, is pretty god-awful game. Like a charming player because he was the underdog, but it was literally he was just obsessed with making big moves, and he didn't connect with a lot of the players, and he was just neurotic the whole time. So, yeah, it lowers my idea of him as a two-time player overall. I don't think he's as great as a lot of people say, but I definitely see why people like him as a character, though. Personally, I didn't mind him, but I'm not upset to see him go. I think he got an extremely large edit, so props to that. It was bizarre, like episode 1 being a dweeb around the camp. But his legacy goes out pretty strong, even though I think this confirms my suspicion he's not as good as a player as he was, or a lot of people think he is, but he's a really good legacy, and I think he made a good mark on this season as a two-time player. I personally think this is the last season survivor. In the 2 seasons, he's made an impact on both of them, so props to him. Not overly sad to see him. It goes out with a good legacy, but maybe not the best player that we thought he was.
That's the question I was going to ask. The episodes that I watched did not have hashtags on it. Did they put up the hashtag Gastro into whatever he said when he said that's a hashtag? No?
No.
Okay.
No, they should have.
Sesternino kept hashtagging it, though, in his tweets.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to double check. Kate, do we want to add anything on our eulogy for Mr. Fishback?
I love Steven. I'm a fan. I think he was doing a good job of narrating the season as well. I'm sad to see him go, but I think he's a good player either way. I do think that this kind of... I want to know what position did JT go out in Heroes vs. Villains?
10th.
10th, yeah.
Okay.
So Steven went out 9th.
Around the same spot.
But I think it's kind of
That's
like...
actually
I
kinda
feel like
fun.
they were just such a, team. I feel like that kind of... Which I've said before, that they're kind of worthless without each other.
That's a very good point.
Funny because they've got similar arcs, because JT's Heroes vs. Villains game was whack crazy. He was going all over the place. Same with Steven, so good observation.
Well done, Kate McLaughlin. That's why we bring you back on these.
Happens every once in a while.
Yeah, and I just want to point out for myself, I pre-game said that Steven and Spencer sort of, similar kind of type of players who I said only one could go far, one would not. And I thought it would be Steven that would make it further than Spencer, so I was wrong. There you go. I've got actually a couple of questions here we'll get to before we get to our final bit in terms of from our Ozlets. Cable, or Tom does, yes, he does, but Cable's also sent them in. He says, question for Tom, and I won't show his mobile number this week. He says, do you think Keith is the medical emergency? Now, next week, spoiler alert, if you don't watch the what's happening next week, somebody looks like they lose their head in the challenge. So, now, the clues that we can have is that, spoiler alert, stop right now if you don't want to hear any clues, and just fast forward this bit if you don't want to have any clues. We saw somebody's hand laying on the ground. It looked to be a male hand, and it looked to be a Caucasian hand. So there's only 3 male Caucasians left. So judging on that, it's going to be Spencer, Joe, or Keith. So that's, it could have been
a bit like an older hand.
An older hand.
I don't think.
So judging on that, do we think it's Keith? Pat?
I think it's going to be a loved one. I think that was really deceiving. I think they were just showing that other challenge to make it look like that would happen, like would hit someone on the head, because it kind of looked like the guy whoever it was near like some type of course. So I feel like they were trying to deceive us with that. I mean, it could be Dale Wentworth for all we know. That could have spazzed out and died.
Good call. Don't say Dale. Kate will cry.
I forgot about that.
I would love it if it was a loved one, but I think I can dispute that, because I did go back and watch it, and unless they're really trying to trick us, that hand, that was a dirty fingernail. That was cuts all over the hand, bruises.
Dale might not have had a bath that morning.
Yeah, I love Patrick's thinking, and I hope he's right, but I'm pretty confident it's a player based on how bruised up that ham was.
And that's
If it's
actually
Keith,
a
I'm
good
gonna
point,
start
Pat,
crying.
that you make. We've got 3 people who are on a blood versus water season here. So, well, I don't think we're going to see Val because she's pregnant. But, you know, are we going to see Dale and are we going to see Wesley?
Oh, God.
Hopefully.
How awesome would that be?
Gold.
Cameos.
the
like
Chicken
best.
nuggets.
I wonder
you
if
were playing
anyone bring
for.
anyone fun.
What was that, Kate?
They all in their like pregame, like all of them were saying they were going to bring these other cast members. Like everyone was, that was their thing. Like Jeff Varner said he would bring Deb Eden, and you know what I mean. Like, so I'm wondering if anyone's bringing anyone interesting.
Oh,
if they
please,
let
can
them.
Tony come out? Please,
Oh my
Tony.
God,
Steven.
Tony comes out. Oh, I'm losing it. That's the best season ever right there if Tony comes out. Tasha!
Apparently, Steven said he tried to bring JT, and they said no. That
But
was
this
what
is-
I read somewhere, like, before the season.
Well, this is where I think we've had this discussion before. I swear it was on one of our episodes with one of the contestants where we said have their loved one. They've got to bring out like an ex-winner or something like that. But what they should have done is like get from the pool of people who didn't get voted back on and say like, okay, for your loved one, you have to put in preference who you'd like to come on, and we get Shane Powers coming out like flipping the bird to everybody, and Troy Zan coming out going, "This is my island." Like,
That would be cool to bring them out for one challenge, though. The
Yeah.
rejected one.
just something
Okay.
like that. I lost the
But
point
can
of the
we just
question.
say how amazing that we have a loved ones that's proper? We haven't had this since Philippines. Every other season has done stupid in the final episode, or we've had
Caramon.
Yep.
Caramoan double loved ones.
Or
Like,
Blood vs. Water
I'm
season.
so glad we're back to regular loved ones. I've been waiting for this.
That's a very good point. Kate, do you have anything to add, or are you just excited with the prospect of Dale possibly coming back next week?
Oh, if they have Dale and be so happy. Yep.
Well, can I just point
Well,
out?
we did that.
I just want to point out we had Dale scheduled for a recap, and then he promptly told us that he couldn't do it. So after he said he could, so maybe he got the call out to be out there, and that's why he couldn't do it. I don't know.
We didn't dive too much into the Medivac. The other reason I also think it probably will be a Medivac, along with the bruised up, dirty hand, is there are 8 people left and there's 3 episodes left. So somewhere along the line, they're going to have to get rid of 2 people.
Yeah.
So I think
Really?
it probably will be a Medivac.
Wait, is there 3 episodes counting the finale?
Yep.
Yes. There's
Oh,
only
I
3
thought
weeks
there
of-
was.
yeah.
I thought there was 3 and a finale. Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense.
Unless they go back to the Sunday night finale, then we've only got 3 episodes.
then. Okay. See, I was thinking it was 4 episodes left.
So I think Keith or Joe are doomed then.
Cable also, we already really went over this. Will Jeremy regret using an idol on Fishback since he was voted out next? Anybody chime in there if you've got anything to say? I'm not going to sort of hold that to gospel.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Kate.
Maybe. Can you repeat the question?
I still regret using it.
You're not the boss of me, Ben.
Was that sorry, Kate? Was that a question back at us, or did you actually answer that? I couldn't hear. Sorry.
Oh, I think he'll regret using it, but the only good thing about it is that like no one's going to suspect him having another idol, so
Right.
it kind of cancels that out.
Now, Tom Shembry's weekly question. He says, weekly question is back if you want it. Thanks, Tom. Did Tasha give away too much at Tribal Council about her strategy, alliances over voting blocks? It's pretty obvious she was referring to Stephen and Jeremy as her trusted allies. Love to get your thoughts. Anybody on this?
No.
Tribal councils are like 3 hours long, and there's probably so much voting block alliance talk, so potentially, but probably not.
Cool. Anybody else? Nothing?
I don't think so. No, there's obviously alliances. It reminded me of season 1. Now when they said alliance, everyone was like, no. Like, I'm like, what the hell? There's obviously alliances, and there's obviously one alliance, and it is Tasha's alliance. But if you genuinely think that there's no such thing as alliances out there, then you're stupid. I'm sorry.
All right, thank you, Tom. Thank you, Cable. Anybody else who want to send a list of questions, you can, but you don't anyway, so that's fine.
Is Tom ever going to come on an episode?
Oh, possibly. I'd love him to. He's very busy in Geelong. Like, there's lots going on in Geelong.
But then how will he have his weekly quest?
He can ask it on air.
So, just a few housekeeping things before we get into the questions. Power rankings. So, obviously, we have 2 to go through here. Sierra went home in 10th. The closest to that one was Jared. He had her at 9th in his ranking, so he gets a point. In terms of Stephen, he went home in 9th. So, the closest to that was me. I had him at 5th. So, the current leaderboard is Colin on 7, Noah on 5, Jared on 5, me on 4. I'm getting my ass kicked in that one. The Ponylicious, it's faresy well this week to Alex Morello. Sorry, Alex, he had Stephen. And Ryan, qualifying lap, who is listening to us live, I believe, he says farewell to Sierra. Sorry, Ryan. So left in the game, Pat, you're still with Keith. How you feeling?
I actually feel a little bit better than I did before, but I still don't think he's gonna. I still don't think he's gonna make it to the end, just because I can't see him being a GOAT. I feel like if he'll get to the end, he'll actually get some votes because he's really likable. So I feel a little bit better. I'm glad he's made it this far, but I'm not expecting him to make the final 3.
Kate, how you feeling with your no entry?
I'm feeling great about it.
Good.
Yeah.
Thought you might be. Noah,
how are you feeling, Ben?
We'll get to me. Noah, how are you feeling with your money that you've already spent?
Yeah, it was a good film that I used that money on. And burger.
It was. Burger. How am I feeling, Pat? Thank you for caring. Yeah, look, I think I might be in a shot with like $20 if she gets 3rd with no votes. So, whatever, I'll get my money back.
Possibility.
So who's left? Alec has got Kelly, Clifton, he's still there. He's got Tasha. James has Kimmy. Julian has Spencer. Nick, fucking Nick, stop winning. He has Jeremy, and Paul has Joe. Our pre-season predictions. So Sierra went home in 10th. Now I'm not going to stretch this out. 3 people had her in 10th position. Tom had her in 10th. He gets 2 points. Noah, you had her in 10th. You get 2 points.
Oh, yes.
And I had her in 10th. I get 2 points.
Oh, shit.
Pat, you had her in 19th.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was bold.
You must be. That's your first points of the season, Noah. Well done. Cool. And in terms of who went next? Stephen, 9th. So one person had that exactly correct, and that was Clofton. He had him at 9th position. So the current leaderboard, I'm on 6. Clifton's on 6. Pat, you're on 4 still, so you're still there. Tom's on 3. Rossi, Colin, and Noah are all on 2. And Cable, Gabrielle, Jordan, and Jared all on 1. Poor old Ryan, Nick, and Alec, and Paul are yet to score. Based on next week, who we got for 8th? You were going to say, sorry, Noah?
Oh, I wanted to know where we all put Steve.
Where we all put Stephen. I had him at 6th. Noah, you had him at 14th. Pat, you had him at 17th.
Wow.
8th position. So for next week, I've got Varna's going home next week. Oh, I might be in with a shot there. Noah, you've got Kelly. Well, hopefully not. She's my winner's pick. And Pat, you have got... Who have you got? Tasha.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, you still got people in the game. All right, closing this out. Tip to win, Survivor, Cambodia. Let's start with you, Skate McLaughlin.
It's probably going to be Jeremy, but I want Kelly to win.
And Noah.
His chances are kind of diminishing a bit, but I still say Jeremy.
And Pat.
Jeremy.
Dark horse, Pat.
I'm gonna go with Spencer. I think his game has actually been pretty strong.
And Noah.
Yeah, Spencer's a good one, but I'll go with Wentworth because she's got another idol now, which will help.
Kate?
Yeah, I'm going with Kelly.
Who's next to go, Kate?
Who the fuck knows? I don't know.
My favorite
Tasha.
player, Tasha.
Sure, why not?
Noah.
That'd be good for me.
Purely out of wishful thinking, but Joe.
And Pat.
I have to agree. It has Joe.
Okay. Hashtag for this episode and hashtag for this episode of Survivor. Let's start with you, Noah.
Ugh. Hashtag for Survivor Gastro, blah, 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 blah. I can't remember what he said. Or hashtag poopy pants. Or hashtag stealing Joe's shirt. And for this episode, hashtag why did they bring Ben back?
Yes, I agree. Kate, hashtags?
For the episode, prehistoric feet.
Oh, damn.
And for this, I don't know.
My favourite of the lot. That's the best one, Kate, ever. Kate
I
is
really worked hard
jazz.
on it.
Kate is jazz.
Is Rossi here? Oh, I don't know.
Pat.
For the episode of Survivor, Steven's poopy pants and foot aids. I mean, what the hell was wrong with his feet? And for the episode of Survivor Oz, hashtag where the hell is Zachary Chong?
Yeah, where is Zachary Chong? Screw you, Zachary Chong. I've come back this week. You're not even here. Can't even guess your
We
song.
don't know where he's chonged.
Who's going to name the song now?
Yeah. We can't name the song with Zachary Chong. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in live. For those who came in late, sorry. We started half an hour early before the episode. Sue us. At least we're live. But we always appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. And for those listening not live, well, it didn't matter to you at all. Purple Kelly Shin is on this week as our recapper. Good to have her back. Always a seasonal favourite, and always look forward to hearing her insights, particularly talking about her new member of the Purple Kelly Club, the other Purple Kelly who's robbed. Who actually got more confessionals out of between them two? I know Kelly Wigglesworth got 5. Do we know?
I think it's Purple
she
Kelly.
got 5 too.
Yeah, well, it's fitting, is it not? There you go. We'll find that out. Somebody quickly Google that for me. While
Get to milk your
I'm going.
Go for
I'm
it.
going.
Go for it. We'll milk our own milk this week. Amazing Race Oz is happening, Noah?
Is it?
I don't know. You're on it.
Am I?
Watch this space.
Purple Kelly also had 5.
Oh, there you go. Fitting.
But she was in more episodes.
If you haven't checked out SurvivorOz.com in a while, check it out, because our fantastic Ozlet Ryan has helped put it together, changed it over. It's looking fantastic. Thank you, Ryan. Yes, very flash and spiffy, and something that we needed to do a long time ago. And yeah, stay tuned to Facebook, Twitter, the Katie's Jazz, how to get it all there. And we thank you, as always, for listening and your support. We'll be back next week for more Oztopsy goodness. So get your questions in for Miss Shin, Miss 5 Confessional Purple Girl. And and also donate to Teen Survivor Oz for a reality rally next year. There's a big, huge button on the right-hand side of our page. We'll accept anything from 50 cents to $50 million. Please donate. If you're going to donate $50 million, we donate like 1 million to Reality Rally and give me $49 million. And then I will forward that on to Reality Rally. Yes. Pat, thank you. I'm just digging myself a hole here. Pat, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you, Ben. A lot of fun.
Thank you, Noah.
Thank you. 3 episodes left. It should be a good final end of the season.
And thank you, Kate. You can go back to sleep now if you'd like.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
And we'll speak to you all next week on Zip Trains. Good night, good night, good night.